poor black boy marries 65-year-old woman. Everyone thought it was a joke until 7 days later when he uncovered her shocking secret, and nothing in his world would ever be the same again. Once upon a time in a small town, there lived a young man named Marcus. He was not rich. He didn't live in a big house or drive a shiny car. Instead, Marcus worked in a dusty little garage, fixing old cars. His clothes were always dirty, and his hands were rough from turning screws and lifting heavy tools. But Marcus had a kind heart. He helped old people cross the street, gave snacks to children, and fixed bikes for free. Even though he was poor, he smiled a lot. People in the town liked him. But deep inside, Marcus felt very alone. His parents had died when he was young. He had no brothers, no sisters, and no close friends. After work, he would go home to his small room, eat noodles, and sleep. Then one day, something strange happened. It was a rainy afternoon. Marcus was working on a rusty red car when a fancy black car stopped outside his garage. The car was long, shiny, and had golden rims. It looked like the kind of car rich people use in movies. The door opened and a woman stepped out. She was tall and beautiful. Her red high heels clicked against the wet ground. She held a big umbrella and wore dark glasses, even though it was cloudy. "Are you Marcus?" she asked. Marcus stood up and wiped his hands on a towel. "Yes, ma'am. How can I help you?" "My car is making strange noises," she said, "and I don't trust just anyone to touch it. People say you're good." Marcus nodded. "I'll take a look." He worked carefully while the woman watched. After a few minutes, he found the problem and fixed it. "How much?" she asked. Marcus shook his head. "No charge. It was just a loose wire." The woman smiled. "That's kind of you. My name is Evelyn. I like honest men like you." Then she did something strange. She handed him a white card with gold letters on it. "If you ever want something more than this life, come to this address," she said softly, then got into her car and drove away. Marcus stared at the card. It had her name, a phone number, and an address written in gold. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. Who was this woman? Why did she give him her address? Was it a job offer? He thought about it for days. Then, one evening after work, curiosity took over. He cleaned his face, wore his best shirt, and followed the address on the card. It led him to the top of a hill. There stood a huge white mansion with tall gates, flowers, and statues. A guard opened the gate and let him in without a word. Inside, Evelyn was waiting for him, dressed in a red gown that sparkled. "I'm glad you came," she said. "Let's have dinner." They sat at a long table and ate food Marcus had never tasted before. She smiled at him, asked him about his life, and told him stories about traveling the world. Then, at the end of dinner, Evelyn said something that shocked him. "I want to marry you, Marcus." Marcus dropped his fork. What?" he stammered. "I want a husband, not just any husband. A man who is kind, humble, and not greedy. I don't care about money. I want someone like you." Marcus couldn't believe it. No one had ever loved him before. But he didn't know what to say. "Don't decide now," she said. "If you say yes, come back tomorrow. But there's one rule. You must never enter the locked room at the end of the hallway. Do you understand?" Marcus nodded slowly. The next day, Marcus came back. He said yes. They had a quiet wedding in the mansion. No guests, just Evelyn, Marcus, and a priest. She gave him a ring made of black stone. It looked old, but it felt cold, even in the sun. After the wedding, she gave Marcus his own room. She gave him new clothes, a new phone, and even a car. "You are now Mr. Harrington," she said with a smile. "Welcome to your new life." But she reminded him again, never enter the last room at the end of the hallway. At first, life was like a dream. Marcus wore suits and ate fine food. He rode in limousines and had people open doors for him. Everyone called him sir. But he still didn't understand why Evelyn picked him. Sometimes she would disappear for hours. Other times, she would stare at nothing with sad eyes. At night, she sometimes screamed in her sleep. Marcus would wake up and find her crying. But when he asked what was wrong, she would only say, "Bad dreams." The mansion had many rooms, but the one at the end of the hallway stayed locked. It had a heavy black door with carvings on it. Sometimes Marcus felt like someone was whispering from inside, but he remembered her rule. One evening, Marcus asked her, "Why can't I go in that room?" Evelyn's face turned pale. "Please, don't ask. Just trust me." He nodded, but the question stayed in his mind. Every day, the mansion felt more strange. Lights would flicker. Shadows would move. Marcus began to feel watched. And at night, the whispering from the locked room grew louder. Marcus was rich now. He had everything he thought he wanted. But something felt wrong. Very wrong. Marcus tried to enjoy his new life. He had new clothes, good food, and a wife who smiled sweetly. But the mansion still felt strange. Sometimes he heard footsteps in the hall at midnight, but when he opened the door, nobody was there. Sometimes the lights would turn off by themselves. One night, he heard a girl laughing softly behind a black door at the end of the hallway, but there were no children in the house. Every time Marcus asked Evelyn about it, she would say, "Please, don't go near that room. It's dangerous." "But why?" Marcus asked. She only looked down and whispered, "That room holds the past, and the past is cursed." Marcus was confused, but he promised not to go near it. Still, curiosity began to grow in his heart. One afternoon, Evelyn went out to visit her lawyer. Marcus was alone in the house. He walked down the hallway. Slowly, he stood in front of the black door. The carvings on the door looked like snakes and flames. There was no handle, just a silver keyhole. He leaned in. Nothing. Then he heard it. A voice. Soft. A whisper. "Marcus, open the door." He jumped back. His heart beat fast. Who's there? No answer. He turned to leave. But then he saw something shiny on the floor, a small black key. It hadn't been there before. Marcus picked it up. The key was ice cold, just like his wedding ring. He looked at the door. "No," he whispered. "I promised her." He put the key in his pocket and walked away. But that night, the whispers became louder. "Marcus, don't you want to know the truth?" The next day, when Evelyn went out again, Marcus couldn't hold back anymore. He took out the black key, walked to the end of the hallway, and slid it into the lock. Click. The door creaked open slowly. Inside, the room was dark. Cold air hit his face. He stepped in. The room was full of candles, all lit by themselves. The walls were black, and on a table in the center, there was a giant book with a skull on the cover. Marcus opened the book. The pages were old and full of strange writing, and pictures of people crying, burning, and screaming. He turned a few pages and froze. There was a picture of Evelyn, but she looked different. Her eyes were glowing red. She was wearing the same red dress she wore when they first met, but her face looked angry and evil. Below her picture were these words: "Evelyn Harrington, wife of the night, keeper of the curse. She must marry every 7 years or lose her soul forever." Marcus dropped the book. His hands shook. What is this?" Then he saw another page. His own face was drawn there, with red ink around his eyes. It said, "Marcus, the final husband. If he stays, the curse ends. If he leaves, the fire begins." Marcus backed away from the table. The candles suddenly went out. The door slammed shut behind him. Suddenly, the black door opened again. It was Evelyn, but her eyes were glowing red. Her nails were long and sharp like claws. Her smile looked wicked, not sweet. "You opened it," she said softly. "You were not supposed to." Marcus stumbled back. "What is this? Were you?" Evelyn stepped closer. "I was born into a cursed family. Every 7 years, I must marry a man who is pure, who is kind. If he stays, the curse can break. But if he tries to leave, I lose him. Forever." "You used me?" Marcus shouted. "I didn't want to hurt you," she said. "You are the last one. If you stay, I can be free. But now that you open the door, the curse is angry." Marcus felt weak. The ring on his finger burned. The floor shook. Suddenly, the walls turned red, and he could hear screams from the ground below. "What's happening?" Marcus cried. "The house is waking up," Evelyn said. "The others are coming." From the shadows, ghostly figures started to rise. Men in old clothes, all pale, all sad. These are my husbands, Evelyn said softly. They opened the door, too. One of the ghosts came close to Marcus. Run, it whispered, or she'll keep your soul like she did ours. No, Evelyn shouted. He is not like you. He is different. The room shook harder. Flames rose from the ground. The ghost screamed and flew around the room. Marcus ran. He ran out of the room, down the hall, and out of the house. The sky had turned dark red. The air smelled like smoke. He didn't look back. He didn't stop until he was far away from the mansion. That night, Marcus slept in his old garage. He had nothing again, no mansion, no wife, no car, just his tools and his small bed. But at least he was alive. Still, he couldn't sleep. He looked at his finger. The black ring was still there. He tried to pull it off. It wouldn't come off. He pulled harder. It burned his skin. He cried out in pain. Then he heard the voice again, soft, whispering. Marcus, you left, but you didn't escape. His eyes widened. Far away, on top of the hill, the white mansion still stood. And in the highest window, Evelyn watched. After running away from the big white mansion, Marcus thought he was free. He went back to his small garage, the same place where he fixed cars and dreamed of a better life. But something had changed. He didn't feel like himself anymore. At night, he heard strange sounds, whispers in the shadows, footsteps on the roof, even though nobody was there. The black ring on his finger wouldn't come off. He had tried oil, soap, even tools, but nothing worked. And every time he pulled, it burned. He started to have dreams. In every dream, he saw Evelyn, standing in a red dress, holding out her hand. Sometimes he would wake up screaming. One morning, Marcus looked in the mirror. He didn't recognize his face. His eyes had dark circles. His skin looked pale. And worst of all, his reflection didn't move when he did. He waved. The reflection didn't wave back. Instead, it looked sad and whispered, "You can't run from the curse." Marcus fell back, shaking. Later that day, his neighbor, old Mr. Benson, came to fix his bicycle. "Marcus, you look sick. Are you okay?" he asked. I don't know," Marcus replied. "Do you believe in curses?" The old man paused. "My grandmother used to say, if you marry into a cursed family, you don't get a wife, you get a ghost." Marcus froze. Marcus needed help. He took a bus to the city library. He searched for books about curses, about the Harrington family, about old mansions. In one dusty book, he found it. Every 7 years, a Harrington woman must marry a man with a pure heart. If the man stays for 1 full year, the curse will end. But if he leaves before 1 year, his soul belongs to the curse forever. And below that, once the ring is worn, it cannot be removed unless the curse is broken. Marcus closed the book and sat in silence. That means, I can't take off this ring unless I go back and stay. He didn't want to go back, but the curse was following him anyway. One night, Marcus was working on a car when a young boy ran into the garage crying, "Mister, help! My dog. She ran into your garage and disappeared." Marcus searched with the boy. They found the dog behind a toolbox, cold, still, and not breathing. Its eyes were wide open. There were no wounds. It just stopped. The boy ran home crying. That night, Marcus sat on the floor and whispered, "This curse is killing everything I touch." He had 2 choices. 1, run forever and watch the curse hurt others. 2, go back to the mansion and finish what he started. Marcus packed a bag and walked up the hill. The mansion was waiting. It looked darker now. The windows were all black. The wind was louder. But the black door was wide open, like it knew he was coming. He stepped inside. Candles lit themselves. The air was heavy. Evelyn was waiting at the top of the stairs, in her red dress. "You came back," she whispered. "I want this curse to end," Marcus said, "even if I have to stay for a year." Evelyn looked surprised. "You still want to help me after everything?" "No," Marcus said. I don't want to help you. I want to help myself. I want to live. She nodded slowly. Then we finish it. Together. Evelyn took him to a secret room under the house. Inside, there was a round table with 3 chairs. One was empty. 2 ghosts sat in the other chairs. Marcus recognized them. They were the first 2 husbands in the curse book. You must face the test, Evelyn said. If your heart is truly good, the curse will break. What's the test? Marcus asked. Suddenly, the room changed. He was in his garage again, but it was burning. Inside, a little girl was screaming. Help me! Help me! He ran inside without thinking. The flames burned his arms, his chest. He couldn't breathe, but he lifted the girl and carried her out. As soon as he did, the fire disappeared. He was back in the secret room. The ghosts stood up. They smiled. Then they vanished into light. The ground shook. The candles went out. The mansion groaned like it was alive. Evelyn screamed and fell to the ground. Marcus rushed to her. Evelyn. Her red dress faded to white. Her eyes stopped glowing. The black ring on Marcus's hand cracked and fell off. And suddenly, the mansion was quiet. Outside, the sky turned blue. Birds sang. The grass turned green. It was over. Marcus stayed. He fixed the mansion, repaired the walls, planted flowers. And Evelyn, she was now free, no longer cursed. She laughed like a real person. She helped him in the garden. She painted. They didn't rush love. They just lived. And one day, Evelyn said, Marcus, thank you. He smiled. I didn't do it for thanks. I just didn't want to be haunted forever. She laughed. Still, thank you. Now, the mansion is no longer cursed. Or so people say. But some nights, if you stand very close to the black door, you might hear whispers. Soft ones. Like the wind. Marcus,